Pastors' Time Management by Dan Namanya, Victoria T. Aja, and Hyun Jun Woo. Dan Namanya, Doctor of Ministry, is an assistant professor at the College of Theology at Adventist University of the Philippines, Silong, Cavite, Philippines. Victoria T. Aja, Doctor of Ministry, is a chaplain and associate professor of applied theology and chaplaincy at the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies, Silong, Cavite, Philippines. Hyun Jun Woo, Doctor of Ministry, is a pastor and assistant professor of applied theology at the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies, Silong, Cavite, Philippines. Ministry is demanding, and for pastors, the challenge of balancing multiple responsibilities is all too familiar. From preparing and delivering sermons, to counseling church members, handling administrative duties, and engaging with the community, pastors often wear many hats in addition to the personal and family obligations that many face. The 2023 Global Adventist Pastors Survey, or GAPS, conducted by the General Conference, revealed the complexities of how pastors are spending their time, thus providing a comprehensive look at the different roles they assume. A contradiction. Unfortunately, the findings from the GAPS reveal that while many reported having sufficient time for their responsibilities, their responses about how they handled different tasks indicated significant challenges in balancing priorities. For example, tasks such as administration, member care, and personal devotions often compete for limited time, leaving pastors feeling stretched. This discrepancy highlights a common gap between self-perception and actual time management practices, underscoring its relevance for pastors across denominations. The findings highlighted a critical issue. Time management is a struggle for many pastors, and when left unaddressed, it can lead to burnout, strained relationships, and even a departure from ministry. The causes of time management issues. The survey revealed that pastors worldwide face significant time management challenges. Let's look at some of the main causes of time mismanagement. Overburdened by administrative duties. Many pastors spend much of their time on paperwork, meetings, and logistical tasks. For example, in regions such as Southern Asia, pastors report up to 50% of their working hours as involving administrative duties. While important, such tasks often detract from preaching, visiting church members, or evangelism. While nearly half, 45%, of pastors feel such a workload is reasonable, 1 in 5, 20%, believes it is excessive. Notably, this area represents the highest proportion of pastors who expressed a desire to reduce their time commitment. Juggling multiple roles. Pastors shoulder a wide range of responsibilities, including preaching, counseling, leading outreach efforts, teaching, and fostering community engagement. Such diverse roles highlight the complexity of pastoral ministry, yet the GAPS reveals an imbalance in time allocation. While pastors dedicate much of their effort to immediate tasks, only 5% of their time focuses on mentoring and coaching, and 10% on professional development, key areas indispensable for long-term growth and ministry effectiveness. Regional and cultural differences. Expectations for pastoral work vary widely across geographical regions. In some areas, pastors focus heavily on sermon preparation, while in others, they split their time between outreach and member care. Local resources, traditions, and cultural expectations will shape such differences. For example, collectivist cultures frequently require pastors to take on community leadership positions outside of the church, whereas in more individualistic countries, their major concentration may be theological education. Furthermore, economic considerations and church size influence how responsibilities get assigned, with pastors in smaller churches frequently holding multiple roles. Insufficient delegation. Many pastors take on tasks that trained church members or administrative staff could otherwise handle. Such reluctance to delegate leaves pastors overburdened and unable to focus on spiritual responsibilities. In areas with limited mentoring programs, church members may lack the skills to assume such tasks. Because many pastors lack formal training in time management and delegation, they often prioritize worship services and operations over long-term planning or outreach. Time is ministry. Time management is the foundation of effective ministry. As public speaker Brian Tracy emphasizes, quote, "Everything you have to do requires time, and the better you use your time, the more you will accomplish, and the greater will be your rewards." End quote. For pastors, time is not merely a resource, it is essential to carrying out their ministry well. Every aspect of pastoral ministry depends on how well pastors use time. Poorly managed time leads to stress and a sense of being overwhelmed, but effectively managing time brings peace, focus, and greater impact. Pastors must view time as a sacred trust, using it wisely to balance ministry demands and personal well-being, thus ensuring that both their churches and families thrive. The ministerial curriculum of many of the Adventist academic institutions we reviewed tended to overlook the art of time management. As a result, pastors went into the field without specific training on managing their time, despite the overwhelming demands they face. If time management is the foundational success for operations focusing on profit, how much more essential is it for pastors tasked with saving souls? It highlights the need for church administrations to prioritize time management training as part of pastoral education and provide resources to help pastors balance their responsibilities effectively in the field. In a humorous but insightful remark, journalist Sidney J. Harris suggests, quote, "A winner works harder than a loser and has more time. A loser is always too busy to do what is necessary." End quote. While this might seem overly simplistic, it sheds light on a deeper issue, the challenge of managing time effectively. For pastors, time management goes beyond mere scheduling. It touches on the very nature of their ministry and leadership. The reality. As seen in the chart, the blue bars represent the actual time pastors spend in their ministry, while the orange bars show the amount of time they feel they need. The gap is significant, demonstrating that the complex workload pastors face far exceeds their available time. In summary, most pastors would like to prioritize spiritual growth and pastoral ministry. Negative impacts. When pastors struggle to manage their time effectively, the result can be detrimental not only to their mental and emotional health, but also to their relationships and sense of purpose in ministry. Poor time management has two major negative effects. Number one, impact on relationships. Pastors often recognize the need for better time management, but still find themselves struggling to implement it. The ongoing challenge frequently leads to burnout, which in turn causes crisis in both their spiritual lives and family relationships. According to theologian Joseph Matera, quote, "Many pastors spend excessive time on tasks that drain them, leaving little time for spiritual refreshment or family." End quote. As a result, their personal relationships, particularly with loved ones and their congregation, can begin to suffer, leaving pastors feeling disconnected from the very people they are called to serve. Burnout, driven by overwhelming workloads and a lack of adequate time for self-care, often leads to emotional exhaustion, a diminished sense of personal accomplishment, and a feeling of detachment from both ministry and personal connections. This breakdown in relationships can compound stress that pastors already feel, creating a vicious cycle that is difficult to escape. Number 2, threat to calling and mission. As pastors experience burnout and emotional exhaustion, their relationships with God, their families, and their congregations often suffer. Such an emotional toll not only harms their personal lives, but also threatens their ability to fulfill their calling and mission in ministry. When pastors neglect their relationship with God or face broken relationships with others, they risk losing sight of the very purpose that initially led them to ministry. The loss of passion, purpose, and connection to their ministry can lead to a deep crisis of faith and calling, not just for individual pastors, but for the church and community they serve. The impact of burnout on pastors cannot be overstated. To support them in maintaining both their spiritual well-being and ministry effectiveness, it is crucial that churches and leadership teams prioritize time management strategies and create a sustainable workload. By addressing such underlying issues, we can help pastors avoid burnout, restore their sense of purpose, and empower them to lead with renewed energy and focus. Practical solutions and recommendations. The survey shows that pastors often lack intentionality in managing their time. Thus, it is crucial that they reevaluate how they spend their time daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. Are they prioritizing the most important aspects of their work, or could they make improvements? It may be surprising to discover how they might be spending time on specific tasks. One effective way to assess time use is by considering Stephen Covey's time management matrix. It can help categorize tasks into urgent and important, allowing pastors to focus on what aligns with their calling and thus reduce stress. To improve time management, pastors can adopt these strategies suggested by Brian Tracy. Number 1. Create a daily checklist to structure tasks and focus on the most important activities. Number 2. Set clear priorities to stay on track and avoid distractions. Number 3. Set principle-based goals aligned with your values and long-term vision. Number 4. Embrace technology to streamline tasks and track progress. Number 5. Strengthen your devotional life with prayer and reflection for spiritual growth. Number 6. Consult mentors and join a support group for valuable insights. Number 7. Balance your roles as pastor, family member, and individual. Engage your family in your ministry work to create unity. Number 8. Learn to say no as a pastor. It can be one of the best time-saving words to protect your focus and energy. Empower church members. Pastors need to delegate tasks by equipping church members for ministry. That could include creating teams for specific responsibilities, such as event planning and financial management. Up to 46% of pastors strongly agree that they needed additional training to manage their work effectively. Leadership should invest in workshops and resources to help them prioritize tasks, delegate effectively, and balance competing demands. Training programs should also include practical tools such as scheduling apps and rubrics to guide time allocation. Each region's unique needs require tailored solutions. A time allocation rubric might suggest dedicating 20% of the week to personal devotions, 30% to member care, and 10% to administration, while the remaining 40% dedicated to local priorities. Such guidelines would provide a flexible framework that pastors can adapt to their specific contexts. Church leaders must prioritize the well-being of their pastors. More than 10% of pastors strongly feel disheartened due to the perceived lack of support, while 17% occasionally struggle to meet their financial obligations. Leadership should address these concerns by offering financial assistance, fostering a culture of care, and providing mental health resources to ensure pastors thrive in their roles. In addition, to better support pastors, effective time management strategies must go beyond simply creating schedules and instead focus on setting clear priorities, establishing boundaries, and delegating tasks wherever possible. Only by tackling such underlying issues can we ensure that pastors have the time they need to engage fully in their calling and lead their congregations effectively. Positive rewards. Time is one of the most precious gifts God has entrusted to us, and it is foundational to a fruitful ministry. When managed intentionally, it leads to effective ministry, personal well-being, and spiritual growth. Ask yourself, what small change can I make today to better align my time with my calling? Start managing your time better by utilizing the following steps. Prioritize and reflect. Regularly evaluate your time, focusing on activities relevant to your spiritual calling. Let purpose guide your priorities. Delegate and empower. Train and empower church members within their spiritual gifts to take on additional responsibilities, freeing you to focus on core ministry work. Shared leadership builds a stronger community. Invest in training. Seek workshops and tools to improve time management skills, thus leading to greater confidence and efficiency. Good time management allows you to serve more effectively, develop a stronger church community, and grow personally and spiritually in your ministry. With intentional effort, the rewards will ripple through your ministry and those you serve. For bibliographical and biblical references on this article, and for much more content for pastors and church leaders, please visit ministrymagazine.org.